if there was ever a moment to bring back certain characters that no one cared about, I guess now was a decent enough time to give some credence to the final season of Clone Wars, especially bringing the first two arcs of the season together in one adventure. This episode follows on almost immediately from the last, where we open on Echo trying to teach Omega how to use her newfound crossbow, but after multiple failed attempts, Sid comes in, takes it, and tells her she's not strong enough to handle it just yet.
That's just rude.
But gets right into it and informs the batch of what their next job is. Someone has contacted her and wants the head of an old tactical droid unit, as they've proven to be the most competent droids on the battlefield during the war, and possess necessary intel for anyone looking to take out parts of the newly formed Empire, as they'll still be utilising the clone troopers of the Old Republic. Hunter initially dismisses this request, stating that they haven't decided if they want to work with her just yet, and Sid says that she's the best chance they've got to survive, and this could be a mutually beneficial time for both of them. She keeps their heads out of the news, and she pays them while they bring in money for her. It's a win-win. After some back and forth, they agree and head to Corellia, where they find a decommissioning plant that is melting down battle droids. It's inside that they find the tactical droid's head and quickly act to retrieve it. As Omega is keeping eyes out for it, she spots that someone has just taken the droid's head, and as she goes to inform the rest of the group, is quickly stopped by another figure that is revealed to be Rafa Martez. We then cut to Trace, who runs down the stairs into Hunter, Tech and Echo, who hold her at gunpoint but are interrupted by local droid enforcement. The plant is forced into lockdown as Echo couldn't achieve what they needed to in the conventional way, so they need to reset it manually, which Wrecker is sent to deal with. As he's about to sort it, his leap of faith, however, takes him across from one platform to the next and leads him to smacking his head off part of the column, the impact of which seemingly activates his inhibitor chip slightly after a brief knock to the noggin in episode 3 as well. Two police droids shoot him down, but the impact of his head causes him to pass out. Hunter meanwhile goes to pursue Trace, who's just run off with the head, and Omega pursues Rafa after a brief scuffle that leads to Omega losing her crossbow temporarily. During the chaos, Rafa and Hunter get pinned down while Omega finds Trace on the conveyor belt and gets the tactical droid head, taking it back for a moment until she gets trapped underneath a couple of battle droids. Trace grabs the head again and makes it off, but leaves Omega there. Omega, beginning to freak out, cries out for Hunter, who quickly responds, but is too far away to reach her. She's dropped into a pit that is about to open when Trace lets her better nature come back, and she goes to save Omega. As the bay is beginning to open, Omega manages to get pulled out by Trace and Hunter offers his gratitude to her. Tech manages to get through, and Wrecker releases the override, and they manage to get the doors open, but are now flooded with more and more police droids. This is where Trace and Tech come up with the idea to use the tactical droid to reactivate some of the battle droids into a small army against a wave of police ones.
Good job.
This works, and with an added save from Wrecker at the last moment, they make it out of the plant. During the melee, however, the tactical droid is destroyed, but they manage to get on board Trace's ship, the Silver Angel, and escape. In the closing moments of the episode, Rafa reveals that they are part of something that seeks to destroy the Empire. Hunter sees this sentiment and offers them a data link that Tech copied the intel onto to help them out, claiming that they need to do the right thing. The closing moments of this episode show Trace and Rafa with Ahsoka's droid, R7, who patches them through to someone wearing a cloak, and Rafa informs the contact of a run-in with a group of clones and feels they may be interested to know. So, as far as intensity goes, this episode had it all, from the hair-raising moments with Omega to the copious amounts of droids swarming the facility making things feel vastly more claustrophobic, to Wrecker's chip activation and then whoever the contact is. You have a lot to think about coming out of this. And you're also left wondering whether Rafa is giving them up or helping them out. The relationship formed between the Bad Batch and the Martez sisters in this moment was good to witness, as it provides them with another ally in the galaxy, and given their resourcefulness, it wouldn't be impossible to use them again down the line. There wasn't a second to breathe at points during this one, as the scenes were densely populated and felt lived in. The action was heavy and utilised each character's strengths and skills, but the environment too. And to see the bond that Omega and Hunter have already forged was almost heartbreaking when you realise the cry for help that Omega put out to Hunter in that moment. They've truly become one of the best father-kid combos in the Star Wars universe right now. The biggest questions coming out the back of this one, however, was what will happen to Wrecker. There was a fair bit of concern coming out the back of this one if you consider the worst clone to receive Order 66 would be the biggest of the fucking army. He's bigger than any other clone and is already intimidating enough, but anything less than his joyous, goofy nature is going to be unsettling. And there's speculation originally about who the mystery contact was, but I'll save that for next week's episode. I'm going to leave it there though for this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any thoughts regarding this episode or something I missed out on, you know where to put them. Leave a like and subscribe to keep up to date with all my releases, and until next time everyone, take care, and may the Force be with you.